slipped into a slow, terrifying pattern of disappearances that no one recognized at first because people vanished months apart, making it look like coincidence. And the last person anyone suspected was the quiet maintenance worker named Daniel Hawthorne, who blended into daily life, perfectly fixing porch lights, repairing broken fences, shoveling driveways during snowstorms, and offering help to anyone who needed it. And while everyone saw him as gentle and dependable, those small, unsettling details people ignored would later haunt them, like the way he stared too long without blinking, or how his smile always seemed a half-second delayed, like he was mimicking an emotion he didn't feel. And behind this calm exterior, he kept a black notebook under a loose floorboard in his bedroom, filled with cold, emotionless notes describing his neighbors as if they were experimental animals, writing details such as how long someone stayed sad after losing a pet, or how quickly a person's voice cracked when stressed. And alongside those notes were dozens of sketches of terrified faces, each drawn with chilling accuracy, as though he was trying to perfect the shape of fear itself. Tucked under the notebook, police would eventually find a wooden box packed with small jars, each labeled with names, initials, and dates, containing items from missing people, like hair, ribbons, broken buttons. And in one jar, a tooth belonging to an adult who vanished years earlier, leaving behind a family that never stopped searching. Daniel's obsession grew darker in early February, when 12-year-old Michael disappeared while walking home during a light snowfall, prompting the entire town to come together with flashlights, dogs, and volunteers spreading.
Why did you let him kill me?
Across fields and forests, and Daniel made sure he was at the center of every search group, walking door to door, comforting crying parents, carrying warm drinks for search teams, attending prayer circles, and offering words that felt kind at the time, but later revealed how closely he studied grief, whispering to devastated mothers things like fear always peaks before hope returns. A sentence that made no sense until investigators discovered his notebook. Meanwhile, the FBI analyzed security footage near the area where Michael vanished and found a short clip disappearing, showing the boy leading authorities to Daniel to raid Daniel's home, where they found a basement that looked like a laboratory of human suffering. One wall covered with Polaroids of each missing person, pinned neatly in rows, and beneath each picture handwritten notes documenting fear in stages, from confusion to panic to hopelessness, with comments like "panic spike after 14 hours" and "anger reduced with deprivation," while the opposite wall was filled with magazine clippings about trauma charts mapping the brain's fear responses, and highlighted research papers about emotional collapse. And on a small table sat an old reel recorder holding hours of audio of victims crying, begging, whispering prayers. And in those recordings, Daniel's calm voice could be heard asking questions, assessing their emotional states, as if he were running psychological experiments. And the tapes were so disturbing that veteran officers who listened to them needed counseling, because the voices were filled with raw terror, and Daniel's voice showed no empathy at all when authorities approached Daniel to arrest him. He did not run or resist. He simply opened his door, smiled slowly, and said, "I knew you'd come," as though he had been waiting for this moment. And during interrogation, he calmly described everything, explaining how fear strips away a person's masks, revealing their truest self, and how he had studied this process for years, analyzing every breakdown, every plea, every moment of silence. And before the session ended, he leaned forward and delivered a line that froze the room, saying, "There's one more you haven't found yet," which wasn't a threat or a boast, but a factual statement. And days later, search teams discovered remains in a secluded snow-covered ravine place, so remote that even experienced trackers said no one would have ever found it on accident, proving Daniel planned the discovery as part of his twisted final reveal. After trial, he was sentenced to life without parole. And even behind bars, he showed no remorse, no guilt, not even curiosity about public reaction. He only continued observing, analyzing, making notes on scraps of paper about prison guards, inmates, and anyone who interacted with him, treating them the same way he treated his victims, as emotional subjects. And psychologists who studied him were disturbed by his complete absence of humanity, noting that he never expressed a genuine emotion, not even once. And the most chilling part of the case wasn't just what he did, but how perfectly he hid it, how he blended into the town, how he helped neighbors, how he attended community events, and how he walked among everyday people with a smile that hid a mind colder than ice leaving the town. And everyone who heard the story with a terrifying, long-lasting truth that real monsters rarely hide in shadows. Sometimes they sit beside you, help you with simple tasks, greet you politely, and watch you closely, not because they care, but because they are studying you. And you may never know it until it's far too late.